superstar. Every time I see you, I just wanna jump up. Just because of you, baby. Just because of you, baby. If this song anymore, so if this one can be fun, because right now I know the truth, baby. Know the truth, baby. But there's a band that my soul was trying to find me love, and don't know what to do, baby. Right, beautiful songs there from Job Boy featuring Sonri with Roy Mota.
Yes, and Jimmy counting down him in a couple of minutes now. It's a minute, they're running up midnight. I'm only 20, not 20, it's 19 seconds now. Well, 15 actually. 15 seconds. And 11. Now it's 10 seconds. And it's 7 seconds. And Rabbi was joining now. Triple volume for countdown with him in this full of time. Yes, sir. Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year.
Yes, it's this night.
Everyone,
yeah, everyone, brother. Enjoy now. Countdown and me hope elsewhere province. Also enjoy to countdown this full time yellow town celebration. I'm sure to go ahead with this full time. Yes, even more fortunate for me entering one full New Year, the 2020. Happy 2020 celebrations, everyone.
Congratulations. Whoever you might be listening in to SIBC, wherever you might be listening in from.
Welcome to New Year 2020.
Acquaintance be forgotten and brought to mind. Should all acquaintance be forgotten and some golden sign for all that silently for all that sigh. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for all that sigh.
Hey everyone, me Jeff Maitanuma, the Sales and Marketing Department at SIBC. We like for wishing you for every family's blooming love here and home with everywhere local country, peaceful celebrations, and Happy New Year 2020.
Hello, me Lantanoma from SIBC Admin Department. Like wishing for everyone Happy New Year 2020.
Paul from Engineering and IT Department at SIBC. Just like for wishing you for an enjoyable celebration and a prosperous New Year 2020.
Hello, Ifala. Me Charlie Salili from SIBC News and Current Affairs. Wishing you one for a safe and enjoyable celebrations. Happy New Year 2020.
Hello everyone, me Rose from SIBC Accounts Department. Like wishing you for everyone a Happy New Year 2020.
Priscilla Rago from Programs and Presentation Department for SIBC. Wishing you one for a good celebration and a happy, healthy New Year 2020.
From SIBC News and Current Affairs Department, SIBC TV. Me wishing you for everyone a happy, prosperous 2020 and hope that all kita goals be followed by you for the achieving. Enjoy New Year blue and may God bless.
At SIBC, we strive to be a beacon of unity in diversity.
Under the discipline of impartiality and neutrality,
We endeavor to inform, educate, and entertain.
reaching you on air and online every day.
We are your friend in good times and bad times.
And as we celebrate the coming of the new year, we pray your lives be bright.
From Ifala SIBC.
Good morning and a Happy New Year, all good people of Solomon Islands. We have come to the end of 2019, and we have every reason to celebrate that we now enter New Year 2020. And for that, we must thank God for another year in life. Our life is God's gift to us, and God has a purpose for each and every one of us. To help us look to the future, let us recollect our minds and look back to what 2019 has been to us. I'm sure we can remember some of the major events that happened in 2019. It is by knowing our past that we can look to the future with foresight and purpose. Here is a snapshot of some of the events that happened in 2019. On 3rd April, registered voters from the 50 constituencies went to the polls and elected their new members of parliament to represent them during the next 4 years. In May, the undersea submarine cable project started laying cable from Australia to Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands. On 7th July, we celebrated the 31st anniversary of independence, an occasion when I was humbled to be sworn in as the 7th Governor General of Solomon Islands. On 16th September, we severed our 36 years of diplomatic relations with Taiwan. From 23rd to 25th November, Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, visited Honiara, and he launched the 16 days activism against gender-based violence, addressed the National Parliament, and launched the Solomon Islands National Ocean Policy. On 4th November to 8th December, the national census was carried out throughout the nation. From November 25 to 29, the 5th Education Authorities Conference was held at Marrow and finalized arrangements to discontinue the Standard 6 entry examination into Form 1. These are but a few of the events that made 2019 different from other years. However, some of the events tell us about actions taken to address issues that we continue to grapple with in the past years. Maybe 2019 was a special year for others to remember because either they had lost loved ones or they had welcomed the new members of the family or new couples were joined together in marriage. Nevertheless, community life is always about sharing of joys and sorrows. And in that regard, 2019 was probably just another year for some of us. Now, Solomon Islands is a young nation that has a lot of natural resources and young and talented human resources. That is, we have huge potentials to develop economically and socially. All we need to do is to set our priorities right. We continue to face the problems of unemployment and urban drift because we have not properly managed the formal and informal sectors. Our education system has also not able to define how to meet our manpower needs. I think we have not recognized the importance of vocational training, which is appropriate in both the formal and informal sectors. I believe real development is one that changes the pattern of life that impacts the mass of the population that live in the informal sector. During the last 41 years, I think a lot of emphasis has been placed on the formal sector, where only about 20% of the population live, and we neglected the informal sector, where about 80% of the population live and where the natural resources are. Real development cannot be attained just by concentrating on the formal sector. One major task that we need to work on is to change the attitude of those who live in the informal sector. There are people who cannot tell the difference between night and day. They sleep during the night and they sleep during the day. There is no sense of purpose in life, no organized work program for the day. They spend the day as if there is nothing to do. This is the main problem that affects the informal sector. If everybody has a sense of purpose and positive attitude in life, development and growth will not be issues for us. Opportunities that are valuable to those in the formal sector can also be available to those in the informal sector. That means people who live in the informal sector do not have to come to the urban areas to get their basic needs. Our task is to reverse the unproductive pattern of lifestyle that is happening in the informal sector. And to do that, we need to get our emphasis right. We must watch out for the positive indicators. School leavers and university graduates should not only look for jobs in the formal sector where it is already saturated. Rather, they should be encouraged to create jobs, and this can be easily done in the informal sector where the natural resources are. That leads me to say that school leavers who cannot find jobs in the urban area centers should be encouraged to develop the subsistence lifestyle to gain economic benefits for themselves. If we did that, I'm sure we can reduce unemployment, reduce inequality in social and economic areas, and reverse urban drift, and help our young people to realize that there is plenty of useful things to do in the informal sector. One issue that is affecting the normal operation of the bureaucratic system of government and the private sector is casual attitude of employees. Faithfulness, commitment, work ethic, and moral values are lacking, thus making room for corruption. Corruption is not only about receiving financial benefit from dishonest dealings. Unauthorized absenteeism for work is also a form of corruption. Corruption has therefore been like a cancer that attacks the whole fabric of the public service and the private sector. To address corruption, the government has taken a bold step by appointing 6 commissioners to serve in the Solomon Islands Independent Commission Against Corruption. The main task of the commission is to fight corruption, and I appeal to all citizens of this nation to support the work of the commission in this worthy cause. To mark the International Anti-Corruption Day on 9 December, the Prime Minister, Honorable Manas Salvavari, said, and I quote, "Corruption is a disease that continues to invade and threaten the existence of Solomon Islands." End of quote. In view of that, citizens of this nation must take it as an obligation and responsibility to refrain from considering corruption as a way of life. Another issue that our nation is grappling with is the number of crimes that seems to increase every year. The society out there is no longer safe and pleasant to walk about freely. It has become dangerous, selfish, and inward-looking. It is hostile and have very little respect for women, girls, and children. The media tells us not only about the struggles we face in economic and social developments, but also about immoral and unethical activities. Apart from burglary, thieving, and domestic violence, we have the more disturbing sexual offenses that include abduction of girls, incest, and raping of innocent little girls ages 3, 7, and 8 years old. The sad scenario is that some of these incidents were not committed by strangers, but by fathers and or grandfathers of the girls. These can be described as evil acts of violence against women and girls, which must not be tolerated. Can we say the least that our society is morally and ethically sick? We must pray, God have mercy on us. The sacred laws of marriage has also not been honored and respected. Extramarital affairs has been regarded as a norm, especially in the urban areas. Unfaithfulness within marriage has clearly undermined the integrity and reputable status of men and the modesty of women. As a Christian country, however, we should not allow this sad phenomenon to continue in the same direction. As we approach 2020, the church and culture, the supposed to be strong defenders of moral and ethical values, should be at the forefront and be firm and aggressive in addressing the issue to help offenders to retract from such acts of abomination. With the government, the church, and the culture working together, I am confident that we can instill in the mind of our people what it's like to live in a society that's governed by love, respect, and sensitivity to each other. We must not be careless about the virtues of respecting others. proper maintenance of law and order. It is a task of paramount importance that every citizen of this nation should see that law and order be upheld and safeguarded at every cost in the highest level. Finally, we must continue to be reminded about the powerful message of Christmas, that God is with us. So it is our prayers that we will make a difference in how we live, work, and relate to each other in this coming New Year, 2020. And now I am pleased to announce that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has approved the following 2020 New Year's Honours Award. Member of the British Empire, MBE, Toata Molea, for services to commerce and community development. Dr. Anne-Marie Scowaj, for services to fisheries and community development. British Empire Medal. Francis David, for services to rural and community development. Johnson Fatalosia Honiman, for services to the media and communication. Osanti Ludawane, for services to rural and community development. Queen's Police Medal. Kevin Sabido Maisa, for services to Royal Solomon Islands School Scholars. Happy New Year and thank you very much.